It seems like nobody wants to work anymore. Like, yeah, girl, why do you? Hello, y'all. I am in a mood today. I know exactly what I want to talk about today, but before we get into that, hello, my name is Jacob, and welcome back to Sunday Yap Session. If you're new here, this is the show where every Sunday I hop on here and yap at y'all about something with some sort of cohesive through line. Sometimes we do better than others, and if you enjoy today's video, be sure to give it a like, and if you want to come and yap with me every single Sunday, be sure to subscribe because I will be here every Sunday yapping, and I hope you will be too. So today I want to talk about work, I want to talk about hustle culture, I want to talk about productivity culture, I want to talk about all of it because that has been so on my mind lately. Oh my gosh, y'all. And if you're somebody who works with me or if you're my employer, do not watch this. Girl, why are you even here in the first place? Clock out. Well, clock back in and don't leave me alone. But I just wanted to talk about like productivity culture and just like work culture in general, because I feel like I think about these things and I think about working, and in general, just the whole thing makes me feel like so drained and so annoyed. And I just kind of want to talk about that a little bit, especially coming from the perspective of someone who like enjoys what I do, like on its face, and like the impact that my work has. I'm fortunate enough to not like be working somewhere where I feel like a cog and I just show up and like nobody cares about me. And I work in an area too, I'm not gonna get like specific about what I do for work, but I work in an industry and I work in a profession where like I am directly doing things that are good for the public and good for my community and helping people out and providing people with resources and stuff like that. So when I think about work and I think about it being draining and I think about how like burnt out I am and all of that, it's not even really because of like what I do specifically, it's just like the prospect of working. And I think about that quote with like that Kim Kardashian meme where she's like,
it seems like nobody wants to work these days.
And I sometimes feel like insane for being like, yeah, I don't want to work. And here's what I mean by that. I feel like I'm kind of in the last generation of people that were sold the idea that if you go to school and you get a degree, you'll get a good paying job and you'll be happy and you'll find all the success and yada, yada, yada. And that kind of subliminally being a vessel for hustle culture and essentially like encouraging you to like work super hard and strive and da 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 da, and you'll get what you want. And I feel like, especially as I have entered adulthood and I'm establishing myself as like a working professional, my career is just like at the bottom of my priorities in a lot of ways, because I feel like my career and what I was quote unquote promised to get is honestly like not that alluring, not that exciting. And this is like definitely coming from a place of privilege because I do have a job that like covers my needs and I am not really like struggling in a lot of ways. But also I kind of like look at what I have from work and from the hard work that I've put in. Because we can get into like my work history in a little bit, but this is one of the few times in my working career where I have had one job. I have usually had two, up to four at times. So it is not like I am not used to hard work. I have been a hard worker. I have been more than a hard worker. I've been a very, very, very overachiever in a lot of ways, academically, professionally, pretty much every sense of the word. So it's not even like me just being like lazy or anything like that, but I kind of like look at what I have, the fruits of my labor from working so hard, especially when looking at like the historical context and what my same wage would have got somebody 40, 50 years ago. And I can't help but feel like this work culture and this hustle culture and being in love with working and being married to my job seems like so silly to me. And let me know in the comments if y'all feel this way too, because I feel like a lot of people my age are feeling this similar way. And so I get very like disillusioned and I get confused being surrounded just like societally, and also like, I mean, even directly, I feel like I'm surrounded by people that are so career driven and so passionate about the work they do. And it's not that I'm not passionate about the work I do, it's just like not at the top of my priorities at all. And that's probably bad. I don't know, just like thinking about work and thinking about how much time work takes up and how much mental capacity work takes up, I feel like we have lost the plot, and I feel like there is this whole big world out here that we should be focusing on. And there's so many exciting things going on in the world and so much joy that can be found from the world. But instead, we're all working our lives away and just working and working and working for more and more diminishing returns and less out of the actual work that we do. I don't know, you think about time progressing and you think about things getting better and you think about positive change, and you would think that like with all the technology and all of the advancements and all of the progress we've made as a society and as a world, we should be working less and we should be able to like automate a lot of things, and we shouldn't be as married to work and we shouldn't have to be grinding as hard. But I feel like as time goes on, we just work more, and it all feels so silly to me, and it all feels so like I'm wasting good time that I could be doing things like going outside and enjoying my friends and being with my family and exploring the world. But I feel like just so much of my time is taken up like working, and it feels so annoying. And I feel like we all feel this way to varying degrees. But at the same time, too, I feel like work has been made to be societally this thing that we take so seriously and we hold to such high regard. And especially if you're in kind of the corporate world, it's a lot of people maybe pretending, or maybe they just truly are, but like being married to their job and working these hard hours and grinding it out in like pursuit of some promotion or raise or something or whatever. I guess it's like the hamster wheel of it all. And I feel like I'm just getting at the point where I just like don't care about any of that anymore. And like I don't want to like hustle anymore. I don't want to grind anymore. I just want to enjoy life. And I feel like in a lot of ways working is like a barrier to that, especially when like all of the other things that I'm interested in are at the compromise of working. And again, too, I'm coming at this with someone who's like work life actually has a lot of overlap with some of my passions and some of my hobbies and what I would be doing in my free time. And even I feel this way, and I can't imagine how I would feel if I was doing something I was totally like opposed against and didn't really feel like was fulfilling me at all. So I'm grateful in that sense, but I also worry too, and I feel like a lot of people I know are kind of getting to this point. I feel like at some point too, I'm kind of scared that if I keep working and keep getting more and more burnt out, keep just pushing and pushing and pushing, I'm gonna get to the point where I like don't ever want to do anything ever again. And that's scary too, especially in this hyper-capitalist system where things are getting more and more expensive and prices are going up and wages are becoming less and less following inflation. Not working is not an option. I have to keep grinding and keep on this hustle and keep on this hamster wheel. It's like a self-perpetuating cycle where the more I work, the more drained I get and the less I want to work, but then the more I need to work because things are getting more expensive and blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of stereotypes about young millennials and Gen Z and stuff, like not wanting to work and being lazy and not having drive and not wanting to work for anything. And I feel like more so, it's just we are so brutally aware of how diminishing the returns are. And that's what makes me like not want to work. That's what makes me not want to marry myself to my job and like work super, super hard and like overachieve. And I mean, I still do it anyway, because I feel like that's what I have to do and kind of the bar I've set for myself in a lot of ways. Even like the idea of coasting at work seems like, how could I do that? Why would I do that sort of thing? I don't know. I think about myself like 40 years from now, 50 years from now, when I'm like old and hopefully living my best life at that point and not working myself into an early grave, and just thinking about what I'm going to think about and what I'm going to remember. And I just cannot imagine that what I do work-wise is going to be anywhere near the top of my thoughts and my memories and what makes me happy. And so I just am like disillusioned with how much time we're spending on working. It feels so, I don't know. It's like the cycle that we're all on and we all have to be on to varying degrees. I guess the thing that bothers me is I feel like a lot of people, at least the people that I'm around, and especially people that are a little bit older than me, there's like this almost what I perceive as playing pretend that like everyone's okay with it and everyone enjoys it and everyone is like super driven and super like, oh, I gotta climb this ladder and get these promotions and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people aren't transparent with the fact that this sucks. And it feels very, very draining. And we've talked a little bit about kind of just like people pleasing and social masking and things like that. And I feel like this is one of the big source of things. And big surprise, I've talked to this with my therapist. I don't know, like so much of work culture is so performative. And I think that's the part that really, really drains me too. I think that I would feel much more better about working if I could just show up and like be very transparent about the fact that I don't want to necessarily be working a lot of the time. Pretty much all the time. Well, not all the time. I do actually, there are a lot of times where I work out where I do enjoy it. And I do like enjoy things and I do enjoy output and putting my positive effect in the world and yada, yada, yada. Because like I said, the work that I do was very, very good. I don't know. It's like the fact that you have to like show up with a smile and pretend that it is the peak of your day and that you're so excited to be there when like I would be more excited to do like literally anything else. I guess like ultimately the frustration and the disconnect I feel is I just am quickly realizing that at least in the career I'm in right now, I am not career driven. The more money I make and like the more responsibility I get, it's not any driving factor compared to like the love I have for my friends or the passion I have for my hobbies or like my partner or being outside or things like that. It's just like not a source of motivation for me. And especially kind of what I was talking about earlier, when the returns are more and more diminishing, I feel like I'm working really hard just to have the bare minimum quality of life that I feel like everybody should have. It feels a little silly to be like so married to work and so excited about work and thinking about it so positively and like having this go-getter attitude, especially when I've been doing that for so long. It feels like so performative. and the performance is draining. I feel like I would also feel much better about working if it wasn't taking up so much of my life. Sometimes if I sit down and think about this too much, I'll get like a little spooked. Like how much of my time on every single day is just purely devoted to working, and how little amount of time I have to like do anything that I actually enjoy that is not someone paying me to do something, just things that I'm purely passionate about. Because like, what is it? You work like an 8-hour day, if you're lucky, probably more than that for a lot of people. Then you're supposed to like sleep for 8 hours a day. So that's already 16 hours gone. And I've only got 24 in a day. I'm supposed to like have a relationship, a thriving social life, passions, hobbies, feed myself, keep my house clean, exercise, yada, 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 like all that in like what, this other 8-hour third. The math ain't math. And that's what has me frustrated. So much of our time is dedicated to work, and then we're all supposed to just act like that's like cool and normal, and like, yeah, we should be excited about that, and we should want to work, and we should not be frustrated about that. Hopefully my point is coming across, because I feel like I'm kind of talking in circles, but like it feels like a joke. It feels like everyone is in on this, like, I don't know. And like, obviously I don't think I'm the only person that thinks this. I don't think these are like really unique thoughts, but it does really feel isolating feeling that way, and then kind of like navigating the workplace and navigating like life and feeling like nobody really talks about these things super openly and candidly. And it feels like, I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm missing something too a lot of times too, if that makes sense. I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm the only one that thinks these things sometimes. Not that I actually am, but just like the isolation of it all, and the fact that I feel like a lot of people are not super candid about these things. Kind of like what I was talking in the people pleasing episode. I feel like I don't hear a lot of people talking about people pleasing a lot and just being a people pleaser. So then in that sense, it feels very isolating. I feel similarly about this. I wish people were more candid about how draining working is, and were more candid about how diminishing the returns are, and how this is taking up so much more of our lives than it really ever should be. So be sure to hit that subscribe and hit that like button so this can be my job instead. Because this, I don't get tired of this, so maybe that's the move. Maybe I'm just gonna become a YouTuber. Who knows? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That's kind of just all I wanted to talk about today, is these frustrations, and I obviously don't really have any sort of like resolution to that. And I feel like I kind of go like in waves about this. Sometimes work feels like the most overwhelming, draining thing ever. And then sometimes it's just like kind of a routine I'm in, and I'm just rocking and rolling with it and having a good time. Because I do really like what I do. Like I've said a couple of times, I feel like I'm re-emphasizing this. It's not that like I hate my work and hate what I do. It is stuff that like I'm very in line in, especially like politically and morally and things like that. So it really is nice in that regard, and I definitely want to be very upfront and acknowledging that like it could be so much worse. I think that can be true, and it can also be true that I find work culture and working just so much time taken up and so very draining, and compared to all of the other hobbies and passions and interests that I have, ultimately, for better or the worse, is at the bottom of my priorities in a lot of ways. And that doesn't mean that I accept doing poor work or accept like doing the bare minimum, but also I don't like pretending that it is the top of my priorities. I guess that's what I'm trying to say ultimately. So how do y'all feel? Let me know in the comments below, because I feel like, especially around people our age, I feel like this is a very common sentiment. I feel like a lot of us are very disillusioned by the workforce and by work culture, and are really kind of just cognizant of the fact that we should be getting so much more out of the work that we do, but we really aren't. And a lot of us are really being asked to do a whole lot for like what? At the end of the day, essentially, especially like frontline workers and like customer service and restaurant service and things like that, these kind of more grueling jobs. Like I'm working in an office. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it could be so much worse. But like, I think we're all in various degrees getting screwed over in a lot of ways. And I feel like if you like express that, and you express feeling negative about that, you are immediately cast as someone who's like, oh, well, you're just lazy and you're ungrateful and blah, 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 blah. I feel like so much of us are just like really not given space to like lament about all of this, and lament about how bad things are getting, and how in so many ways we really just have not progressed as a society in a lot of ways. And especially when it comes to work and wages and things like that, that just becomes like so evident. On a more positive note though, I am feeling a lot better. I really do appreciate all of you all who are wishing me well wishes and things like that. I got like an overwhelming amount of DMs on Instagram of people wishing that I feel better and all of that. I'm very grateful for that. Turns out I had tonsillitis, which I am like on the last day of my antibiotics from, and I'm feeling a lot better mostly. Still feeling like pretty tired and feeling pretty drained, which I feel like you can probably tell in this video. I'm still trying to like claw back my energy and get that all back, but for the most part, doing pretty good and feeling a lot better. So I'm really grateful for that. And I'm glad I didn't get too sick to like not make videos, because I feel like I say this all the time, but I love doing this so much. This really brings me so much joy, and I really do enjoy like connecting with y'all and making these videos and things like that. So I really do appreciate you all showing up super regularly, because that also was definitely a driving factor for me making these. Like, they're being well received and people are enjoying them and people are engaging with them. So I really do appreciate you watching through all of these and yapping with me every single Sunday. And hopefully you're enjoying it and having fun too. I think with that, I'm gonna call it there. I am, like I said, pretty drained, pretty tired. I feel like this one too, I just needed to like rant and get this all out, because I feel like so much of this I just like can't say without being perceived as like someone who wants to be lazy or wants to just coast, or like I don't know, blah 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 blah, whatever. Y'all get it. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, whatever. I don't know. But like I said before, be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed this. And if you want to yap with me every single Sunday, be sure to subscribe. Let me know below. How do you feel about work culture? How do you feel about the way things are going right now? Is your work draining you? Are you tired? You just want to go outside and hang out with the homies all day? Because that's what I want to do. I'll see you all next week. If I have time, I will try to film a bonus video this week too. Hope to see you next Sunday, because I'll be yapping here and hopefully you'll be yapping with me. Bye.